The game of golf is beautiful, yet so complicated. I'm not even referring to the actual act of swinging the club. What I'm talking about are the many rules that make up the sport. Given how unpredictable the game could be, there are an insane amount of rules for various specific situations, and at times these rules can seem very confusing, leaving you wondering what the heck is going on. Keeping that in mind, in this video, we're going to be talking about the 8 biggest golf rule controversies to ever happen. Haotong Li 2019 Dubai Desert Classic. In the final round of the Dubai Desert Classic, Haotong Li was lining up his big birdie putt on the 18th hole as his caddy stood behind him. Li was dialed in and nailed the putt to lock himself in for a third place finish. Li's caddy had apparently broke one of the newer rules that came into effect that same year. Rule 10.2b. Once the player begins taking a stance for the strike and until the stroke is made, the player's caddy must not deliberately stand on or close to an extension of the line of play behind the ball for any reason. With this penalty, 2 strokes were added to Li's final score, and that dropped him all the way to 12th place. With this penalty given, Li lost $100,000. This ruling did not sit well with anyone, especially other pro golfers. Here's what some of them had to say. Hard to believe Li was penalized for this. Frankly, I think it's a shockingly bad decision, and for the life of me, I cannot see how Mike has lined Haotong up here, said Eddie Pepperell. Ross Fisher said, "What happened to you and Mike was a disgrace, bud. Shouldn't have happened, chin up." As a result of this confusing ruling and the reactions heard all around the golf world, it was realized that clarification was needed, so they had to change the wording within the rules to make it easier to understand. If you ask me, the rule should just say, when they're making a putt, just go stand over there and don't move, okay? Because if you move, you owe me $100K. How's that sound? Tiger Woods 2013 Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship. It was the 5th hole of the second round, and Tiger Woods' tee shot didn't quite end up where he intended. His drive landed between the fairways of the 5th and 6th holes, more specifically in a planted, sandy area. Tiger asked his playing competitor, Martin Kaymer, to confirm his ball was plugged, and Kaymer agreed. After that, Tiger took the next steps, which was taking a free drop. Playing it safe, he chipped onto the fairway, getting out of that dangerous, hazardous area, and finished up with a bogey and moved on. However, it was later decided by referee Andy McPhee that the free drop was not allowed as the ball was not embedded because of the terrain's sandy base, and Tiger was given a 2-stroke penalty. Because of this penalty, Tiger missed the cut. Basically, Tiger and his playing partner both agreed that the ball was embedded, but due to the sand-based area he hit the ball in, the rules regarding embedded balls do not apply. It was an interesting situation. As you can see where he hit the ball, it's difficult to tell if this spot should be considered sand or not. Dustin Johnson 2010 PGA Championship. Now for some quick context, 2 things are important to know. 1, 25 years old at the time, Dustin Johnson was looking for his first major win. And 2, before coming into this, all players were warned that any patches of sand throughout this course would be treated as bunkers. But of course, Johnson made this list for a reason, so let's see what happened. After he birdied the 13th, 16th, and 17th, Johnson was leading by 1 stroke. All he needed to do was par the 18th. Well, he got off to a rough start and sent his drive wide right, landing on a patch of sand. Now remember, the rule is it should be treated as a bunker. Unfortunately for Dustin, he had a lot more on his mind than to remember this rule, and he played by grounding his club down before striking the ball. Because of this, Dustin was given a 2-stroke penalty and knocked himself out of a potential 3-way playoff between himself, Martin Kaymer, and Bubba Watson. Here's what Dustin had to say about the situation. Obviously, I got a penalty for being in what they call a bunker. The problem is they play all sand on the course as a bunker, but it didn't look like a sand trap to me. It didn't even look like sand. It looked like dirt. It was where the crowd was standing, and generally the crowd doesn't stand in a bunker. Brian Davis 2010 RBC Heritage. Headed into a playoff with Jim Furyk, Brian Davis was looking for his first tour win. Attempting to play his 3rd shot on the 1st hole from a penalty area, Brian swings at his ball, but during the backswing, he inadvertently struck a loose impediment. Now watching this back in real time, you couldn't even tell that it happened, and I'm not sure anyone else noticed. But Davis knew it happened and called the penalty on himself, as he knew it violated Rule 13.4. Before hitting a ball lying in a hazard, the player can't touch or test the hazard surface with their club or hand and may not touch or move a loose impediment in the hazard. It's such a harsh ruling, especially on Davis's play here, but you have to give it to him. He showed incredible sportsmanship and gained a lot of respect for everyone around the PGA. Unfortunately though, he lost the playoff in what was the closest he'd ever come to a victory in 369 starts on the PGA Tour. That has to hurt. Phil Mickelson 2018 US Open. On the 13th green, Phil Mickelson decided to shock everyone and play like he's someone who shoots 120 and has no idea how the game works. He put too much on his putt, lipping out, going past the hole, and making a break for it downhill. Phil quickly hustled over to it and hit the ball while it was still rolling. Listen to the broadcaster's confusion as it's happening.
That's stunning. David Fay here in the booth. We just saw Phil Mickelson. This is a live look.
It's so strange that Phil was able to keep a straight face while doing that. I mean, that's how I golf if I'm slowing down people behind me and I'm trying to pick up the pace. This type of play breaks PGA Rule 14.5, which states a player must not stroke a ball while it's moving. Now, unlike the plays we've seen up until now, no one was defending Mickelson's rule break here. This was just a sad play by someone who was having a bad round. Here's Mickelson's explanation as to why he did it.
I don't mean it in any disrespect, and if that's the way people took it, I apologize to them, but that's not the way it was taken. I took the 2-shot penalty, moved on, and...
Tiger Woods 2013 Masters. It was the second round on the 15th hole at Augusta National. Tiger Woods was tied for the lead when he pitched his third shot right at the flag, but unfortunately it hit off and made its way right into the water. So Tiger takes his drop and moves on with the round with his scorecard reading 71 at the end of the day. However, a former rules official who was watching the Masters on TV called in a potential rule break of Rule 26.1. If a player hits the ball into a regular water hazard, he may do any of the following and take a 1-stroke penalty. Drop as close as possible to the spot where he played the previous shot. After hearing this, Masters officials initially said that he had not broken the rule. However, after closer examination, they determined this rule break to be true and penalized Tiger 2 strokes. Now, this already sounds ridiculous because someone who was watching this on TV phoned it in and it was actually valid. But what's even more ridiculous is that because Woods had already signed his score sheet at 71, that 2-stroke penalty makes his scorecard false, which breaks Rule 33.7 that calls for the player to be disqualified. Thankfully, after all this, Tiger was just given a 2-stroke penalty and was able to move on. Anna Nordqvist 2016 US Women's Open. At the 17th hole, playing what was the second of a 3-hole playoff against Brittany Lang, the two were neck and neck, and it seemed as though everything was going to be decided on the third and final playoff hole. However, everything changed when officials notified both Anna and Brittany that there was a violation of a rule, not currently as they play on hole 17, but on the previous hole where Anna was hitting out of a fairway bunker. Yep, that's right, they were a full hole delayed on the play, catching everyone off guard. Anna was given a 2-stroke penalty as she touched the sand in the fairway bunker with her club, and Brittany Lang ended up taking home the win. Unfortunately for Lang, the controversy over this rule break overshadowed her win. Dustin Johnson 2016 US Open. Now, Dustin Johnson won the 2016 US Open, but he had to deal with a controversial penalty during the final round. On the 5th hole, as Johnson was eyeing out his putt, his ball moved. Dustin backed off and informed the official that he did not cause the ball to move and that it happened on its own. The official agreed and the day continued. Well, fast forward to the 12th tee box and Dustin was informed that there is a possible infraction coming his way and it will be determined after the round is done. So now, not knowing whether or not Dustin will be given a penalty and if he is, to what degree, Dustin had to play on trying to maintain a safe lead. Ultimately, his par 4 was changed to a bogey 5. But luckily for Dustin, Jim Furyk, Scott Piercy, and Shane Lowry all tied for second second at 1 under, and Dustin finished with 4 under. Of course, the golf world came to defend Dustin as it was pretty clear he did not cause the ball to move. Here's what Ricky Fowler had to say. The fact that the USGA thinks that DJ caused the ball to move is completely ridiculous, laughable. Dustin Johnson commented on the ordeal after the win, saying, "It doesn't matter now, and I'm glad it didn't matter because that would have been bad." Thanks for watching our video. If you haven't yet, drop us a like, leave us a comment, and if you're looking for more golf content, don't forget to subscribe.